Welcome to the 5% Club podcast, the space where ambitious leaders go to master their careers and their lives. I'm Shayla King, a former C-suite executive turned performance and happiness coach. And this is the podcast for leaders who want it all. The promotions, the paychecks, and luxurious amounts of time for what matters most. Each week, I'll teach you how to work less, make more, and design a life you love. Let's go. Hi, friends. Welcome back to the 5% Club. I'm Shayla King, your favorite money mindset coach. Are you living your epic life? How's it going, y'all? It is amazing over here. It's back to school time. And so we are doing all the things. We're dropping off our son at Baylor. I just got my 16-year-old her first car. And let me tell you, it really ties into today's podcast subject because we are going to be talking about money today. And when you think about the life and the childhood that you had, and you compare it to the childhood of your children, I don't know about any of you guys, but it blows my mind, the differences. I started working and driving at 14. I guess things were different back then and different in Kansas. And I remember buying my own car, and it was $3,500, and it was a Pontiac Grand Am. And at one point, it was fine. I was like fine with it because I had a car. And I went to a school that was really mixed. I got bussed in from like a poor neighborhood because I was in the International Baccalaureate program. It's like an Ivy League prep thing. And so I was one of the smart kids that got bussed over for that program. And so because of that, there's a real wide variety of economic statuses within my high school. We had like 2,200 kids, and some of them lived in gated communities, and some of them, like me, we had a meth dealer across the street from our house. We had a lovely little home that my mom had bought at an auction for $30,000. Homeless people had lived in it before we moved in. I remember the front door was red and then painted over, and that paint had been like scraped off, and the home had been abandoned. So no one had been taking care of it. So the grass was like 3 feet tall. And my brother on his school bus on the way to school would pass that house, and everyone would joke that it's like blood on the front door from the paint scraping off, and would make fun of that house. And then one day my mom came home and said, I bought us a house. And she was proud and excited and told us. And my brother's like, oh my God, no, that is the house that we make fun of on the bus every day. There's no way I can be the kid that lives in that house. Fast forward. My mom is a very hard worker, and she turned that little house into a little home for us and got herself some profit when she ended up selling it 8 years later. The difference is between how we have money today versus what our childhood looked like. So when I'm car shopping for my kid, and I know that I lived in that little $30,000 house when I bought my car myself with my money from shout out Gelato Cafe and IHOP, it's just such a different world than we live in today. And I want my kids to be grateful, and I want them to be hardworking, and I want them to understand the value of a dollar. And at the same time, I don't need them to take any of the bad money issues that I've had with them. And so I'm really working on unlearning a lot of the things that I've learned before about money and really evaluating my thoughts on it. And so I thought it's a great subject for the pod. And what I'm actually doing is starting a new series. So let's jump in and I'll tell you about it. But I want to give you those updates first. So we did end up getting her the cutest little car. It's a Nissan Kicks, Kicks, if you've never heard of those. And it's just adorable. And she's in love, and we're in love, and she saved up for a year before she got her car so that she could put a year's worth of money towards her insurance. And so she is working to pay for part of it, but obviously we're in a different position than my parents were to be able to help me. And it's a blessing to be able to do that. So lots of things tie into the subtleties of those types of decisions and how we choose to feel about them. So today we're just going to start off on the topic, and you'll see how many more intricacies there are to money and what we'll be talking about in the future. So welcome to today's podcast, and we are going to do something a little bit different. I'm sharing the first of 5 stories that shaped my why. So this is why I coach, why I care so deeply, and why I will never stop doing this work. because it's not just about getting promoted or checking boxes. It's about building a life that you actually love. So today we're opening up a conversation I've wanted to have for a long time, and one that's going to be coming up again and again on the podcast. In the first episode in a special series about my why, it's an open conversation about money. Why money matters, why I care so deeply about helping leaders, especially women, earn more, and why I'll never apologize for wanting wealth, and neither should you. We're starting off with a simple truth. Money gives options. Let's go. I was 7 years old when someone close to me told me she was getting divorced. She told me that her husband had been having affairs for years. And I remember being so young, I didn't know how to process that or what to think. But I did ask her, I said, why didn't you leave when you first found out? Why didn't you leave sooner? And she looked at me and she said, I didn't think I could afford to take care of myself and my kids. I remember that moment like it was yesterday. And it, honest to God, this is not dramatic, changed the trajectory of my life. Because at 7 years old, I made a decision. I would never be trapped. I would never stay in something painful because I couldn't afford to leave. I wanted to marry for love, but not for survival. And I wanted to always be able to take care of myself and my kids. So from that day forward, I chased independence, not just success, not just power and freedom, options, security, and peace. Money became a non-negotiable part of my story, not because I'm greedy and because I'm shallow, but because I know what happens when women don't have it. So here's what I want to say loud and clear. It is not wrong to want wealth. It is not wrong to want options. It is not wrong to want to never feel stuck again. When women have money, we can change the world. We lead differently. We love differently. We live differently. I talk a lot about making decisions out of a place of abundance. And when you are worried about being paycheck to paycheck, when you're in fear of if I get laid off, then I don't know what's going to happen next for me and my kids. If I get laid off, we have to sell the house. If I get laid off, I don't know what's coming next. That is underlying stress that is just terrible on your soul and your body, right? So when you have enough money that you can have that security. I went to a marriage seminar once and he said it's like women have an extra organ down here. And that organ is what makes us feel safe and secure. And when you have enough money that you don't have to worry about worst case scenarios, that you have, as we talked about a few episodes ago, that FU money, that is what I'm talking about. It gives you power. It gives you quiet, calm, life-changing power. It's about the security and the sufficiency that let you make decisions from abundance, not from lack or fear. When you feel safe financially, you stop asking, can I afford to do this? And start asking, do I want to? That's when you make your best, boldest moves. That's when you lead differently and love differently and really can think about all of your possibilities in your life. And wanting that level of freedom, financial freedom, is nothing to be ashamed of. And this is where we end the money shame, where we stop apologizing for wanting wealth, wanting security, and wanting options. Because for me, this isn't just about my bank account today. It's about breaking generational patterns. And this episode is just the start of a much bigger conversation that we're going to keep having here inside the 5% Club. There's so much to unpack when it comes to money. I wanted to share with you today the story that happened to me on why desiring money became so important. And when I had that conversation at 7 years old about a woman stuck in a marriage she did not want to be in because she could not financially help herself, really sparked my desire to be successful in life and business. And I obsessively learned how to create contribution so that I could create wealth. And I've given back to organizations like Dress for Success, where I served on the board for 3 years, and to help women who are working, that are underpaid, get to a level of pay in which they can become financially independent. Right? So underpaid to I have economic independence. That is my deep heart desire for all women. Now, of course, I want it to go much beyond living paycheck to paycheck. I want you to have abundance. Part of this starts with losing some of the shame and talking about the reality of women and money. And so, for instance, did you guys know it was 1988? During my lifetime, since I've been born, 1988, about the year that I heard about that situation from a family member, 1988, when a woman could first get a business loan on her own. In the United States of America, we were not allowed to get a business loan on our own until 1988. We had to have a male sign off. That means men were in charge of our money and expected to take care of it for that long. And now in our society, there are a lot of stories and anecdotes about how women are irresponsible with money. If you want more money, the primary message to women is to stop being so damn frivolous. Stop getting your nails done. Stop getting your coffee. Don't go out with friends. Don't buy the new dress. The message to women is to stop spending. It's very rare for a man to hear, if you want more wealth, you need to take off the NFL channel. You need to stop going golfing and don't buy that new polo. Men are told to go create another business. Men are taught, here's how you get promoted. Here's how you make smart investments. They are taught to grow their revenue and grow their wealth and grow their income. We are taught how to shrink, how to spend less, to not be such wasteful little women. It's ridiculous. We need to make more money. It will solve the problems. Now, sure, there's wasteful spending. That's not what we need to focus on, though. And in the programs that I work on with clients, and when I work with clients, what we do is we figure out, where do you get the most joy from your spending? And then we create those sections. And I go through this great exercise where we get close to your values and what's fun. Because remember, we're living an epic damn life. And an epic damn life isn't, the only way you'll ever be okay is if you never have any fun. Don't spend any money, don't go anywhere, and don't enjoy your life. Then you can be responsible and then everything will be okay. It's bullshit. We're not living that. We're living abundantly. We are going to learn how to contribute more to this world and make more money. And then we're going to spend it in a way that gives us joy. And what's ironic, and we'll talk about this more in the future, but as you make more and more money, you actually have less desire to spend because you just start to feel okay. And you're not using spending as buffering. You're not using it to try to get that quick serotonin hit because life is hard and stressful. And so if you go by Target at 9:00 at night, maybe you'll feel better. Even though then you have too many things that you have to clean and organize and keep track of that you don't even want. There is this kind of stuck in the middle feeling where we actually spend a lot more and buy a lot more, volume-based, maybe not dollar amount, but volume-based. And it comes from this stressful life and wanting a bit of serotonin, wanting something to make us feel like at least something is good. At least that's pretty. At least I got a few minutes to shop online. At least I think I'll feel pretty when I wear that dress, right? And when we actually feel secure about our life, when we actually feel safe and happy and we know we have abundant options, that spending tends to wane down a lot. And then we only go after the things that we actually really want and have a much more curated life. But my point here is, don't worry about how to cut every cost and live this very basic life. Learn how to get the skills, the relationships, and the executive presence to be able to make that much more. What you have to be able to do to take care of yourself in that way is you have to be able to have that same amount of time and dedication to do that. And in that case, you are the asset. My coach talks about protecting the asset. And we'll go through this more because one of the podcasts I'm really excited to talk to you about is being the first female breadwinner. And a lot of us are the first female breadwinner in our family's lineage. It's amazing. But if you try to be the first female breadwinner and you try to be a stay-at-home mom and you try to be the best wife ever and the best daughter-in-law ever and the best friend ever, those expectations are not made for you to be successful. They're made for you to give up on your dreams because they're impossible, because you can't pay the bills and cook the meals and take care of the house and protect the asset. And so and we'll talk more about this, but one of the best ways you can use your money as you start to get it is to buy back time. Let yourself focus on developing yourself into the best version of you that can make more, that can increase your revenue, that can have excess so that you can start to have some of these investments. Otherwise, you'll get stuck in that middle. Even dual income families get stuck in that middle. It's just enough to give them this elevated lifestyle, but they're still living paycheck to paycheck. And the wife is getting physically sick from all the invisible labor and from trying to keep up with the guys at work, but still be an incredible wife and mom at home. Something has to give. And we are not going to be focused on making someone else in our life think we're doing it right over our actual happiness and success. And so as 5%ers, we design our life differently. We design our life in the way that works best for us. And that means protecting the asset, investing in yourself, investing in your ability to grow and create more wealth, and investing in support so that you have the time and energy to take care of your health and to allow yourself to improve and to allow yourself to grow always while having luxurious amounts of time for the things and people that matter most. All right. This is just the beginning. There's so much more to unpack when it comes to women and money, and men and money too. Definitely part of it. A lot of dual income families are struggling with these same things, and a lot of men are trying to unlearn the lessons that their family taught them, like the number of hours that you work somehow relates to how much you should be paid. We know that hard work is not what equals pay. There are people doing extremely demanding physical jobs that make that very clear, right? And so sometimes it's uncoupling things like that. Sometimes it's uncoupling the do-it-yourself attitudes. If you can't do it yourself, you should. Think about what that reinforces. That does not reinforce that time is your greatest asset. That does not reinforce that you could potentially take that hour where you're trying to fix something that you're not good at fixing, and you could be putting it back into your business and making a lot more. Doesn't take into account that hour you're fixing the thing could be an hour that you have intimate time with your kids or that you do something for your health, right? So there's a ton to unlearn when it comes to money, and we're going to keep talking about it here on the podcast. In addition, we'll still go through results, relationships, rituals, and mindset so that you can be a high-performing and happy executive. But we're going to also dive into money concepts because it's so interrelated and a big part of why I do what I do, because nothing bad ever happened from a woman making a shit ton of money. All right, here's some of the topics that you'll see in the future. Being the first breadwinner in your family, navigating the likability penalty, which means the higher up you go in an organization, the less likable you are as a woman. It's reversed for a man. The more power you have, the more we like you. For a woman, the more power you have, the less we like you, because you're not meeting our expectations for how a woman should act. And we can totally break that thing apart and start to make it sexy and fun and cool to be a powerful woman. What happens when you out-earn your partner? Talk about that. How we hit upper limits and self-sabotage. So when you get to an amount you've never been at before, how that feels really uncomfortable on the inside and the mindset that we need to manage that. And how your life changes when you move even from like 150K to 250K, huge differences in what you get to do with that incremental income, huge differences. And so my clients are going to be sharing some of their favorite things as they've moved up that they are able to do for their security, to feel good about it, and to have a hell of a lot of fun. So we'll be coming back to these topics in the future episodes here on the pod. So make sure that you hit subscribe and share this with anyone that you know who wants to have more choice, build wealth, and feel completely empowered when it comes to money. We have the Performance and Happiness Lab opening soon. So I want you to go to shaylaking.com/phlab to learn more about that. And we will be opening it up for our fall cohort. Inside the Performance and Happiness Lab, you will be with other leaders that are at the director, VP, executive level. All right, 5%ers. Let's live an epic life full of money and abundance. Let's go. Thanks for joining me in the 5% Club today. If you're ready to work less, make more, and design a life you love, go to shaylaking.com to join the 5% Club waitlist. Each Monday, I'll send you something you can implement immediately, and you'll be the first to know when applications open for the Performance and Happiness Lab, my group training program designed to accelerate you into a happy, confident executive who loves their whole life. See you there.